The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, traders. Can you hear me and see my screen? If you could just type yes in the questions and we'll get started. Okay, and just a minute here as well. I need to attend to something quickly. Okay, if you guys can just verify you can hear me and see the screen here. With yes in the questions. Okay, all right, thanks guys. Appreciate it. Okay, all right, let's get started. Welcome to the Bookmap Platform Details webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. The risk disclaimer: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. For more information, go to bookmap.com. When you subscribe to Bookmap, it comes with education. Okay, you get the Bookmap educational course. It's a 4-part course that starts off with basic market mechanics, understanding those, and then extrapolating those ideas to much higher time frames and structure in order flow and in the auction. Okay, and then every day following this webinar, we have a live order flow advanced analysis webinar where we go over the same content in the educational course. We go over it in the live market and we anticipate future price movement based on our analysis in the order flow. So you can learn about order flow and Bookmap in the educational course, and then you can access that and see it in the live market. So it's a good combination for learning. All right, let's jump over and take a look at the website quickly. For those of you who are new here, just scroll down a bit and the intro video here at bookmap.com. More information about Bookmap here. Bookmap for equities, I'll go over in just a minute. And then down here to connectivity. This is important because we are not a data provider. Bookmap is a visualization software financial trading platform. Okay, we're not a data provider, we're software. You can see other platforms that are up here as well. Okay, NinjaTrader, TTX Trader Pro, and Interactive Brokers Traders Workstation. We also connect via the API of these 3 platforms. However, we are a platform just like they are, so you can connect directly, and we prefer it. So connect directly to CQG, Rhythmic, Gain, IQ Feed, Transact, and Dev Experts. This Dev Experts here is for NASDAQ Total View. Okay, this is for the Bookmap for equities part that you can see up here. It's a great data feed. It has full depth of market. That alone is worth it. Just that one feature. But anyway, let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to go over any of the equities. Let's scroll down a little bit further. You can subscribe to Bookmap here monthly or yearly. You get the discount 20% yearly. And digital and global. Okay, so let's go through the different versions. There's a digital version here that is free. Okay, it's a full working version of Bookmap. It's live data, but it's only for one digital currency. Okay, you also access U.S. equities, but it's going to be delayed. All right, a delayed feed for that. All right, so that's what you can get with the free version. So you get a good understanding of what it is, but it's going to be with delayed data. okay, or one live Bitcoin, for example, from the GDAX exchange. You get only basic education and limited support. Okay, the Digital Plus version, you get real-time data, well, for up to 20 different symbols in the GDAX exchange. You can record and replay your data. You can trade right from the chart, and you also get the advanced education as well as full support. The global version, okay, this includes everything. So it's futures, digital currencies, and U.S. equities. But we're not a data provider, so for futures or U.S. equities, you will need to provide the data, but you can connect this to those markets. Okay, and it also comes with that advanced education. Global Plus version, okay, it's everything in global, including the ability to trade right from the chart for futures or U.S. equities. And then this cache of order flow videos that we put together. There are proprietary indicators, and we start to identify phenomena in the order flow and larger players, for example, with our large lot tracker or iceberg detector. All right, if you guys are new here to futures or the equities, you can get a data feed here. Okay, you can click on this link here. And if you want the full different chart here with all the differences in these different versions of Bookmap, you can click here, and then FAQs for any questions here. Okay. Social media, you can click here, or I'm sorry, go to Bookmap, at Bookmap_pro on Twitter, and most of the most current information is tweeted here every day. Okay, and then also our YouTube channel, all sorts of videos here and playlists. I'd recommend going through some of these intro videos up here to begin with, and then features and components to understand what it is Bookmap is offering, and then these order flow video snippets. Okay, this is the phenomena that Bookmap visualizes and uncovers. So this is really where the rubber starts to meet the road, and you start to understand really how to use Bookmap. So we go through these very concise videos here, the phenomena and the concepts of that phenomena here, but then we go through it in detail in the advanced analysis webinar. Okay, all right, so that's everything there. Let's take a look at the ES. And what's going on here. Okay, and see a few new guys in the room. I want to welcome you, and let's just go through what are we looking at here in Bookmap, and let me know if you have any questions and any particular instruments you want to look at. I have a bunch of different things loaded, some digital currencies, some U.S. equities, as well as futures here, many futures markets as well. All right, well, what are we looking at? All right, so, you know, if you look at this right now, you're probably looking at Bookmap and saying, I've never seen anything like this. It looks like there's a lot of data here and it doesn't make much sense. It's actually really straightforward data, more straightforward than anything else out there because it's not a derivative of time, price, or volume. It is time, price, and volume and the auction. Okay, so there's just three elements on this chart. Okay, we do have an indicator subpanel, but I'm going to close that up. And these three elements on this chart, historical best bid and offer, the volume dots that trade on that historical best bid and offer, and then you see this heat map. The heat map, all it is a historical evolution of the DOM, our depth of market. Okay, so I'll get into and explain more in detail here, but we're going to start off with a candlestick chart, and then I'm going to explain these things as we go along. Okay, let's take off everything else, and we're just looking at this candlestick chart. And here we go. So very, very straightforward, open, high, low, and close of a 5-minute period in this chart. All right, and that's actually a real big part of the problem with the candlestick chart is its aggregated data. Okay, it's only for a 5-minute period. Okay, we don't know what happened within that 5-minute period. So like what happened between here and here? Okay, pretty big drop, right? And we're going to see all sorts of stuff when we start to turn on the layers of data in Bookmap. And it's just for example, microstructure areas here. We don't see it because it's aggregated for a 5-minute period. What about the volume? Where did the volume trade within that microstructure? Okay, we need to know that. It's important to understand who's in charge here, sellers or buyers. And we'll very clearly see that when we turn on the volume dots in Bookmap. Okay. Where did the volume trade? How much? What type? All of that in relationship with that microstructure is all that data here is missing, and we're making important financial decisions based on very limited data here in a candlestick chart. Okay, and that's why we continue to add different indicators to our chart, trying to look for insight. Okay, but those indicators, a lot of them are delayed, like a moving average, or some sort of derivative of time, price, and volume, and that doesn't help. So we continue to add these indicators on, which really makes it much more complex. And let me explain. So just looking at historical best bid and offer here, keeps opening up this sub-panel chart. Looking at historical best bid and offer, this is really truly what price did. Okay, there is no aggregation here of data. So we can see, and this is what I mean by microstructure. Look at this little microstructure up here. Okay, we see the downward movement. It initially kind of moved up quickly at the 9:30 open here in the S&P. You can see the volume subchart, and then we moved down. We went sideways for a bit, and we moved back up, kind of based here for a little bit, and then broke down. Okay, we want to understand who's in control up here. We could look for little areas. Look at this little pullback into this microstructure. Okay, this is a selling opportunity up here. You don't see that in the candlestick chart whatsoever. Okay, you have no clue. And that's what I mean by microstructure. So let's turn on the volume dots as well, and let's see who starts to take control here. Just loves to open this. Let's see here. Okay. All right. So here we go, and let's zoom in here. Okay. Here's what really occurred. Okay. We went sideways here, and it wasn't really clear who was in control at this point. There's a lot of buying volume actually here and here as well, bringing the market up. Okay, as they lift the offer up into these highs here. So actually starting to read, some buying pressure. We're making kind of equal highs up here, and we're making we made a swing down here, a lower low here, but then a higher low here. Well, this could be a reversal pattern, right? This could be your head, your shoulder, head, and shoulder, and then we see the breakout to the upside. Okay, so this could be looking for maybe continuation, right? Well, we get our answer over here when price breaks down below this little microstructure here, kind of goes sideways for a bit, a little pullback here, and then we see what occurs over here is sellers start to come in. Okay, we can see it in the volume dots. Okay, that there's more aggressive selling coming in here. Right, and you can see that they really just picked it up in some of these areas down below the swing here. Okay, so but again, though, this is it was kind of a trap up here. You can see the aggressive volume coming in, lifting it up out of this area, this structure here, and starting to go sideways and accept. It looks pretty good. Okay, and it totally broke down. And the breakdown, actually, the clearest area where the volume is in control on the sell side is probably right in here, right? This little pullback is still a little iffy. Yeah, I mean, it's yeah, it's not the clearest. But what we do see up here is this is pretty good. We see it actually twice here and here. Look at the volume on the buy side. Okay, there's very little buy volume up here. Okay, so it's starting to exhaust out. It can't even make a higher high, okay, or an equal high. And in fact, look at all the times it tried up here. Okay, it never did it. It never had the buying power to reach a higher high. And that's where the sellers start to take control. And that's why you can see it in the microstructure. Okay. In these areas here, you can see that the clusters of selling start to come in. Okay? And we're down below this microstructure, and we're accepting down below that microstructure. Okay. Okay. And the real clarity on the zooming out on the higher time frame is in here. This is where we know that the sellers are in control. All right. Anyway, that's the volume and the historical best bid and offer. And let me just zoom in to show you exactly what we're displaying here, because this is very, very simple data and it's very objective. Okay, here we go. The historical best offer is the red line. Best bid is the green line. The green dots here are aggressive market buy orders. Okay, so they crossed the spread, they paid up for it. They didn't provide liquidity, they actually took liquidity. Okay, and a green dot is painted here on the best offer. Okay, so that's what happens when a market buy order hits the bid or lifts the offer here. Okay, the red is hitting the bid, and that's a market sell. Okay, now note the different sizes of these dots and these clusters and flurries of activity here. Let's zoom into this area here, and let me show you exactly what we're showing or displaying in Bookmap. Note how I zoom in here, and we're starting to pull apart all of this trade data. It was bigger in a bigger dot here. And we have precise data here for a volume of 27. Okay, if I continue to zoom in here, we're pulling it all apart, and this is actually really, truly what occurred here. We have every single market event is recorded in Bookmap. Okay, this was for a volume of 3. Okay, we can continue to zoom in here down to nanosecond level. Okay, we're talking billions of seconds. Okay. HFT guys, you're going to love this. You're going to see exactly how your algo is performing in these markets. Okay, now that's actually why Bookmap was developed, was to start to understand how our algos were getting filled. It was for our own visualization, and we came across this idea and thought this would be pretty good to offer as a platform. Okay, so we don't trade at those levels, but what I'm trying to display and show here in demo is that we don't aggregate the data. Okay, it's all here. Every single market event is here. Okay, this is a big benefit. As we zoom back out though, because we don't trade off of those levels, okay, we just visually or graphically aggregate this into a bigger volume dot. Okay, but we can zoom right back in and see every single event. Okay. All right, so that's it. That's the volume dots, and now we can start to see who is starting to win within the microstructures and the battles here. And then that's the 2 elements on Bookmap. Okay, the third element, let's get to that, and let's take off the candlestick chart. And the third element is the heat map. Okay, and this is going to give us the complete view here of the order flow. Right? This is what most other platforms simply do not offer. This is something to be, it's so much easier to see in Bookmap. Okay, so what exactly is the heat map and what is it showing? Right? Well, let's look at it here. Let's look at a current DOM. Okay, the current order book that you see here. Okay, this is your depth of market. Most of us are very accustomed to looking at a depth of market DOM, right? Where they're lining up on the offer, providing liquidity, and where they're lining up on the bid. Okay, so these numeric values here that's usually what we access in a DOM. These are contracts. Okay, these are sellers up here providing contracts and liquidity, and they want to trade at these levels on the sell side. On the buy side, here they are on the bid, okay, with their contracts that they want to be buyers at these levels. This is the current auction. In fact, everything to the right of this vertical white line is the current auction, okay? In this window here, it's the current auction as well. We see the best bid and offer, and this number is the last traded volume, okay? Now, you can see the heat map is changing, what it's doing is reflecting the changes here in the DOM. Okay, so when you see them add liquidity, it's going to get brighter. Okay, when you see them pull liquidity, it's going to get darker. Okay, so they just came in here and they're adding up here at this level, and they just came in here at 27.73 as well. Where this gets really interesting and useful is we record that data and plot it on the chart historically. Okay, that's all it is. Now what we can do though is, because we have a historical reference here, we can start to understand traders at these levels and their intent to trade. Okay, we can see that they were lined up here on the offer, and then look how the price came up and traded up through into that area, and we can start to gauge these traders here with this high liquidity. Did they want to trade? And our answer is very clear here. It's no. They pulled. Note how at the last minute here, as price moves up, they start pulling their high liquidity. And where are they pulling it to? They're pulling it and they're adding it higher. Okay, we can very clearly see this behavior, and we can extrapolate from this knowledge that is probably this trader here pulling and adding up here. Okay, maybe not this guy. It looks like he adds right back in here, but some of these guys are pulling and adding up higher. Okay, and we can see that behavior. Okay, we can see that here, and then look how up and these areas are starting to add way up here, and they just added even more. Okay, so now we made that distinction between fake liquidity, and then we'll find an area where there's real liquidity, where they actually stay in the book and have intent to trade. Okay, let's zoom over to this area here and take a look at it. Okay, note the distinction here. Okay, we're making a very clear distinction between real liquidity and fake liquidity. Here's high liquidity that stays in the book. There was about 500 contracts here. Okay, and look how they stayed in the book, and look how they lifted the offer right into these contracts here. Okay, we can even see in our volume columns over here about 300 contracts traded in this area here. Okay, so out of the it's actually 488 contracts that were here on the offer, well, about 300 of them traded. Okay, here it is, right? You know, you'll hear a lot of traders talk about, well, I don't really look at the DOM because, you know, I maybe look at some of the bigger numbers, but you know, it's all fake liquidity anyway. They're always adding and pulling. Well, here we just recorded it, and we can verify exactly and precisely what's occurring here. And here's where they had intent to trade, and they did, and here's where they didn't here. Okay, and we can gain all sorts of insight from this, and we can start to understand the auction. Okay, and now that's one part of the order flow. The other part is understanding the tape. Okay, and that is the volume dots that we're looking at earlier. Okay, now when we put all of that together within the microstructure, I think you guys will see a complete view of the order flow and of the market. Okay, you know, there's many benefits here of having this data here recorded for you, because in the DOM here, once these numbers change, that data is gone. Okay, but in the DOM, what this allows us to do is that we can zoom out. Okay, and we can see in the auction how they're starting to behave at some of these areas here. Okay, so we can start to use our depth of market data on much higher time frames. Okay, and start to gauge understanding of the intent of those traders. All right, guys. Well, let's see. Just a little analysis of what we see right now, and then we'll jump to the next webinar if you guys are signed up. Yeah, I mean, well, we can see something very clear here, and we can just make we can draw on the chart here and make a line right across. Again, like that same concept of sweeping of the book down below these other swings here, as you can see, and we've accepted down below this 72 area. Okay, so this 72 to 73 area, pretty important area for today, as we can see, and you can see that look how they were on the offer in these areas here, and they're still they've lowered their offer and they want to be sellers down here at these lower areas. All right, so that's the current state of the market, looks like sellers are starting to come in. Let's see if we can. Let's see if they want to. Nice cluster of selling here. So let's see if they want to hit the bid harder, maybe come down to this swing here around 68. And that's why am I picking that area, or maybe even 67, is because that's where some of the liquidity is down here, as we can see, and then 65 here as well. Okay, some guys just popped into the book here at 69. Okay, and you can see the effect that it's had on price. Okay, so the sellers weren't interested yet. Okay, so let's see if we get another rotation down now on that sell side, maybe they'll take these guys on here at 69. All right. So anyway, we'll stop now, and we'll resume tomorrow at 10:30. Okay. Have a good day.